All right. So on to our next one. So I know what this is. I don't know how to say it. So y'all forgive me. Kaatsu. That was a comment that said like Dax and his pronunciations. I'm black. Okay. We pronounce things a little differently around here. Okay. You see the names that we give our kids? Like, come on.
But anyway. I think. Kaatsu is what I think it is.
Kaatsu. So, and for those of you who don't know, I've seen this. I'm curious what you think about this. It's basically blood flow resistance training is how I think the best way to put it. So basically you put these bands on your muscles, it constricts your blood flow to your extremities. And I think your ability for your muscles to contract as well to basically put you into closer to failure earlier, or put your body in a state of stress and hard work earlier in your exercises. And apparently Michael Andrew's been using this in swimming. What do you think about this, Elvis?
Yeah. So I've studied up on this before, and so I have a decent amount of knowledge in it. So I'll run through it for the audience so they can understand what it is. But so Michael Andrew and his dad have been posting a lot of content lately about kind of behind the scenes of how he's been training. And, I don't know how new it is to him, but he's been showing off this new Kaatsu training, which is it's blood flow restriction. Yeah. And you're basically putting like cuffs around your arms or your legs, and it tightens them just enough so blood can flow in, but it doesn't leave as easily. So you're not exactly cutting off circulation. You're more like slowing it down. Like if you think of like a traffic jam, so not like a roadblock. It's
like a funnel.
Right. So blood comes in, but it stacks up, and that makes your muscles fatigue faster, even if you're doing light work. Okay. So it's supposed to make like easy work feel hard. And originally it started as like a rehab tool. So let's say like if you were injured or
not in like normal life.
Yeah. If you were injured or elderly, they would use this to, rebuild or maintain your muscle without having to lift heavy. Cause there's no elderly person that's going to be doing squats.
Yeah. I remember this now. Yeah. It started with old people. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the studies showed that like low intensity movement plus the blood flow restriction would cause like muscle growth and strength increases similar to heavy training.
Okay. Cool.
So basically your muscle thinks it's working harder than it actually is, and your brain and muscles kind of panic a little bit and, accelerate that growth.
Okay.
And, of course, so swimmers now are jumping on it because it's, wow, I can get more work for less. Sign me the F up, Yeah. But so here's where it gets a little weird though. There are a lot of the studies I found originally were more like, we put it on these, control group and then this other group, and we let them walk for a couple of weeks, and then we compared them. It was a lot of like basically stuff that you would normally do around the house. So like walking or
like baseline exercise.
Yeah, baseline exercises. But as you go like kind of further and deeper, you find some swim specific studies.
Right.
And some of them have showed like improvements in aerobic capacity when swimmers did low intensity swimming with the blood flow restriction. And then others looked at sprint training blocks and saw changes in force production or in mechanics. So, I mean, I think it can help, but a lot of these studies are like short-term, small groups. They don't prove it's better than just a well-designed training without it.
Right.
So it's not magic. It's more like a tool. If your technique is bad and your training is bad, like these cuffs won't save you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of how I feel about it too, though, where it's like, My thing is, what does it help me? Okay, so say you have your main set. Let's just use this example. Does it help me if you think about it as a practice, not necessarily actual swim practice, but just like the progression through practice? Does it get me into the gains for my main set in a shorter amount of time? Like that's what I'm wondering about with like any type of equipment or training or performance equipment and whatever is okay, you're going to restrict my blood flow. So this is going to get me feeling like my third 50 of my 200 free in 250s instead of a 15 minutes warm up stuff before practice.
Exactly.
Right? Like, what type of efficiency is this giving me? Like that's, and I think that the negative part of this, and the part where I kind of don't believe in it, is how do I say this right?
Say it wrong first. That's when you don't know how to say something right, you just say it wrong first and then work backwards.
Okay, so is the juice worth the squeeze? That's not at all close to what I'm trying to say, but
yeah,
it's like if it does that thing, it gets me to my thing. Like, and this even kind of goes into the best time versus the win. Like, if it gets me to the feeling that helps me win in a more efficient way, as far as time and effort, great. If it doesn't, I don't really care about it. And how does this affect me mentally? Like, I don't like equipment like this where it's like externally, like you're relying on an external factor to put you in a psychological, physiological state.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because on some level, it's going to be in your subconscious on some level. And I ain't got time for that type of weakness, in a sports that's decided by, even though we just talked about times, but tenths of seconds, right? Where I'm getting out touched because my body thinks, oh, this thing made me faster, right? So now I go and I lose this race by a tenth of a second. Well, did I not do enough? Did I do too much? Right? And I just don't have time for that type of mistake when I know that. I guess this even kind of goes in the last week thing right now. I'm about to sound like one of the people we're not trying to be like. If I know hard work works, like I want the efficient answer, but I'm not trying to. I need my psychological edge. There we go. If this doesn't affect my psychological edge or helps it be greater, I care about it. It helps me be more efficient with my time. Because as an athlete, time is the one thing you don't have as an adult. So if it does those things and preserves my psychological edge, good call on working backwards. Sign me up. If it doesn't, especially the psychological edge, even if it gives me the physiological things I need, I can't sacrifice the mental. It ain't happening.
I see. So, and the other thing that kind of concerned me is like, this isn't something where you can just go home, grab a belt out of your closet and just strap it on your legs and call it a day. Yeah. Like this is like they did specific studies to have specific amount of pressure on specific people, almost trial and error. So it's not cheap. And they had them hooked up to these machines where it would
I thought I saw wires hanging from it.
Yeah, it would inflate and deflate to make sure like the pressure was the proper amount. So if you're not doing it correctly, like very correctly, you could really mess everything up. Like, so when you say, is the juice worth the squeeze? That's what got into my head. I'm like, man, like a couple grams of pressure off, or whatever you measure the pressure in, like a couple off, like you just ruined your whole day, or you just could lead to injury, you know, and, and
Is it
going
worth
into
it?
your, yeah, and going into your hard work works. Like now I'm sure, you know, this may be me talking out of both sides of my mouth because, you know, I'm a big low yardage type of guy. So I feel, and this is just me, you know, strictly feelings based. I have no facts to back this up, but I feel like I would get more out of it doing 650s all out than strapping this to my legs and doing 250s and feeling the same way. It's just the psychological feeling
I'm about to say the psychological side. Yeah. See,
of beating myself down to that point, like doing it myself. You know, it's almost like losing weight. It's like losing weight with Ozempic, you know, like yeah, you lost weight, but it's not you're missing some of the benefits.
you didn't
know?
lose weight.
Yeah. You lost the weight, but you didn't work for it. So you missed out on the muscle gain that you get from losing weight the real way. And
Yeah.
I have not tried Kaatsu training, so I could be completely wrong. It could feel like I did 650. The 250s could feel like I did 650s and have the same psychological effect or whatever. I do not know. But Michael Andrews doing it. He's the only elite level swimmer. He's the only swimmer really that I've seen doing it outside of any testing program. So,
and he's been right before. That's for sure.
Right. Definitely been right before. But I mean, personally, I think there's other things he could probably be focusing on more than this. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not his coach. But if I made a New Year's resolution in February to stop giving out free advice to people. So, because they don't like it. So if you wanted advice from me, you can call me. So,
all right. Well, you heard it, Michael Holler.